Last month's been hectic. Doesn't even begin to draw a picture of chaos has happened. Most if not all schools have shut down and transferred over to online classes. Your favorite restaurants or stores are most likely closed and enacted some sort of makeshift, no contact interaction to get goods to you. Shelves almost every single grocery store empty and face-to-face interactions will never be the same. No one person at fault, and the blame can be traced back to a lot of people. But here in the United States, there's one person who needs to be brought to justice for his complete lack of control over the masses of America during a time when he needed a competent leader the most. Donald Trump is guilty of downplaying the seriousness of coronavirus that led to mass paranoia and destruction of the U.S. economy. This case is important and people should care because we can't ignore the fact coronavirus was, as quoted by Virgin, a crisis that was both foreseeable and foreseen. And that's why Donald Trump should be brought to justice for his inactions. I'm qualified to speak on this topic because I am a citizen that felt completely lost with no honesty from the government and had no idea how our country is handling the influx of coronavirus cases. To prove my point, I'll be talking about some background leading on COVID-19, Trump repeatedly misleading the public, and how Trump destroyed the U.S. economy. First, a little background leading on COVID-19. On July 31st, 2014, Corin Rootbar in his article talking about Trump's actions during the Ebola crisis, he said, quote, during Ebola crisis, in just 2 days before a plane would bring back 2 American health workers back from Monrovia where they contracted disease, Donald Trump would tweet out about how, quote, our leaders are incompetent and to keep out a sick from the U.S. Following that tweet, and all throughout the rest of July and through August, Trump attacked the CDC and warned about bringing Ebola-infected people back and said people that go to faraway places to help out are great, but should suffer further consequences. By the time September rolled around, Trump turned his attention to President Obama, calling him dumb for refusing to stop flights from Africa. Furthermore, in an Instagram video, Trump blasted President Obama for not stopping flights from Africa, which caused the virus to reach the United States, and how he should be ashamed of himself. Throughout the rest of the Ebola crisis, Trump will post up to 100 tweets about Ebola virus, many of which attack President Obama, other times targeting the CDC, and now the spotlight is on him. The National Security Council's Pandemic Unit, established after the Ebola epidemic in 2014, according to Beth Cameron, who previously served as the Senior Director for Global Health Security and Biodefense on the White House National Security Council, March 2020 said, the mission of the unit was to do everything possible within the vast power and resources of the United States government to prepare for the next disease outbreak and prevent it from becoming an epidemic or pandemic. Yet a year later, in 2018, the White House dissolved the very office that was needed to prepare the country for a pandemic such as the coronavirus. Biggest lesson from articles when Beth Cameron said, quote, pandemic threats may not arise every year, but the White House should constantly prepare for them and can't afford federal decision makers to waste time relearning old lessons when they should be innovating and acting. COVID-19 wasn't preventable, but it's predictable. It's well past time for the United States government to show what leadership required, and therefore Trump should own up to his inactions and the mistakes that he gravely made in eliminating one office that would have taken the right measures of slowing down the virus. Next, I'll talk about how President Trump downplayed the COVID-19 virus on numerous occasions. In a chart made by Ace Actually Whom on Reddit, it showed a plot of COVID-19 cases with aligning quotes from the president. According to a graph, somewhere between January and February, when the cases were below 2,000, Trump made a statement about shutting people down, coming from China, everything's going to be okay. By fact-checking with an article by a writer, March of 2020, and a YouTube video posted by the Recount, March 2020, both of which highlighted Trump's statement on the coronavirus, Donald Trump said on January 22nd, quote, we have it totally under control. It's just one person coming from China. We have it under control. It's going to be just fine. Somewhere in the middle of February, in the month, Trump starts talking about a theory that in April, when it gets warm, historically, it's been able to kill the virus, and more about having it very much under control in his country, and it's going to be just fine. Yeah, this is where it takes its turn. Leading on our way up to the end of February and early March, Trump's still saying everything's fine. Then March 17, Trump announced out of the blue that this is a pandemic he knew all along by looking at other countries. This is significant because Trump completely downplayed the COVID-19 virus. Much like how Trump accused the CDC and government during the 2014 Ebola virus of spreading misinformation, he will go on to mislead the American public into believing that everything was fine when nothing was. And when a crisis started to rise, he pretended to know all along, which is completely hypocritical and man should be brought to his justice. Lastly, Trump helped destroy U.S. economy during COVID-19. As the economy is having closer and closer recession, it seems like all hope is lost. Trump administration and acting chairman of the Council Economic Advisor Thomas Phillipson reported on February 18, 2020 that corona isn't as big a threat as people make it out to be. To Mr. Phillipson, he thought public health threats would not hurt the economy, it would be much like a normal flu season. Yet this wasn't the case. As coronavirus spread rapidly through the United States, many governors and local officials started to close many businesses and urged people to stay inside their homes to slow down the spread of the virus. An article goes on away from Director of National Economic Council Larry Kudlow, who said it could be 4 weeks, it could be 8 weeks for economic activity to resume. This is significant because it goes back time and time again to the fact that the Trump administration, much like himself, tried to downplay the situation. By trying to say everything's fine and encourage people to keep working, they only go on a few weeks online and say they should stay home. And the cycle of misinformation only leads people to not work and rush out to buy a week's worth of supplies to stay home. And with so little information from the government, all seems lost because one person couldn't step up and lead when it's needed the most. Trump's guilty of downplaying the coronavirus and by spreading false hope that everything's fine only led to mass paranoia and destruction of the economy later down along the line. That's why it's important to bring the man justice that couldn't step up and act his part when the country needed him the most. Being a president to me means leading your country and not just in its prime, but being a leader, step up, handle the situation even when things don't seem easy. That's why if you felt lost in the past few weeks and expect the government to handle the situation in some sort of time manner, I'm sure you agree with the current president Donald Trump should step down and bring justice for his lack of effort in this crisis. Trump landed one department that could help in the crisis. Trump downplayed COVID-19 virus on multiple accounts, and Trump destroyed U.S. economy and misleading the public. Donald Trump himself said, I'd try to learn from the past, but I plan for the future by focusing exclusively on the present. If only he followed his own advice for the cuts by limiting NSC pandemic, it showed he learned nothing about the past of the United States doing Ebola and needs some kind of government entity to deal with epidemics or pandemics. If we know anything about Trump's statement about coronavirus, he doesn't care about the president. So if Trump showed us anything during this crisis that he doesn't learn from the past, but hopes for a better future by ignoring the president completely.